Okay, so welcome back to another video on this series. This is the delay number 2, and we're going to talk about stereo enhancement by using delays. Now, of course, this is the second video of the series. If you didn't watch the first one, I'm going to give you the link right there at the top. And this is the extended version of a video I released a few days ago of different techniques. And that video is, very fast, and it's in 5 minutes, and I show you a lot of techniques on a very short period of time. But again, if you're a beginner, maybe is too fast for you. So that's why I'm recording this video. But if you want to watch that one, I'm going to give you the link right there at the top, of course. Now, okay, so we're going to talk about stereo enhancement. So first, I'm going to show you what I got right here without stereo enhancement, without using any of these techniques. And then we're going to listen the same thing with the techniques, okay? So I'm going to go and play it. So, night and day, right? So yeah, okay. So let's just begin. The first technique I'm going to show you is going to be, and I call it a targeted delay. I don't know if there is a very specific name for this. So the whole trick is that we use a delay on a very specific part of an arrangement. So it's like making everything small. The original sound, it's very small. It's just very small and short, kind of sits in the middle. And then at one point, we make it big. We just make it big for a second. And this is going to give you the impression that, there's something, with white going on. There's something else going on. And this is something very common that happens on mixing. Let me just give you an example. Right now, we are just doing, everything is enabled. So I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to just play the mono. I'm going to play the track in mono. So we hear the track, and it's mono. And we might be listening this track for hours in mono, and at one point, we say, okay, so I'm gonna go to stereo, and it sounds super wide. It's awesome. So the problem is that we've been listening this in mono, and whenever we change it to stereo, we feel that everything is super big. But it was already there. All the information was already there. This is, again, something that happens because, this is the way our brain works. So with the snare, this is the trick I want to show you. Right now, sorry, I'm going to go and play it. The snare is just like that, right? Just sits in the middle. And at one point, we do something like that. So what the trick is that, again, we go and we make the snare, we add a delay in this case in snare at a very specific point. In this case, I'm doing it to the last of the first 4 bars. And then we just repeat the same thing. And of course, this is a pattern. Right? Very cool. So I'm going to go and show you what I did. This is the snare delay. And it's a very simple technique. So we're going to go and add a delay. And in this case, I'm shifting the left side from the right side. And I'm, of course, doing a 100% mix because this is a bus send. And cutting a little bit of the lows, a little bit of the highs, and a little bit of feedback. Now, of course, we need to play this delay not the whole time. So we need to do a little bit of automation. If I disable this, the delay is going to be there the whole time. Which is not bad, but it's not what we want. So by bringing a tool, what we can do a little bit of automation on the volume. So whenever we don't want the effect, the volume is all the way down. And as soon as we want it, then we do and rise the volume, and then we decay the volume down. And we do it, every time we want to. So automations and delays go hand in hand. So they're very useful. Right. So that's it. And I call this targeted delay. You can call this whatever the fuck you want. So, okay, so let's go to the next one. The next one is going to be the Haas effect. And this is one of the most used tricks in kind of history. history of humankind. Um, and what the trick is that you're gonna be offsetting the left side from the right side. And if you think about this, it's something very similar that we are doing right here with this delay. We are offsetting the left side with a different repetition. This is a different time, and then the right side is a different time. They're very short. The difference is not a lot from left and right, but the tiny shift in time, it gives you the perception that it's just wider, it's bigger. And the only difference is that one it's ahead and the other one is behind, right? So, well, the has effect, this name of this is the same idea. I'm gonna go and play the strings without the has effect, and on the tool, I'm making this all the way mono. So, it's super mono. Let me just mute all of this. Right? It's mono. And as soon as I do this, it goes stereo. So the trick is that we need to split the left side from the right side, and then we need to choose. We want to put a delay on the right or the left. It doesn't really matter. And what we want to do is to use a tiny delay, and we want to do 100% mix. We don't do any cutting because we want the right side to be equal to the one in the left. The only thing we want to do is to shift the timing, just to push it back a certain amount of seconds. Now, of course, if I play this, the one in the left has the correct timing, and the one in the right is 17 milliseconds behind. And it's playing on the right. But this gives you the impression that this is stereo, super stereo. Usually, this has technique, the values that we use right here go from 10 to 30. But as soon as you go over 30, you start to shift the right side from the left side, or maybe the left from the right, too much. And you're gonna get this sound, and hopefully you're using headphones and or speakers. And this is a problem. This is something that you should never do because it's gonna mess with your image, your track. It's gonna actually mess with your track. So usually 10, 15, 20, 30 is okay. If you go very short, this one goes to 10, you're not gonna get a lot of the effect. But you can go shorter if you want. I like 20s. Alright, so again, this is the has effect. Another technique just to make things a little bit more just wide. Okay, so let's talk about the next one. I'm gonna go and play the bells. This is the bell. It already sounds good, and this is already a little bit wide. Stereo. We can actually see it right here. It is very stereo. But maybe we want to just enhance it a little bit more. I'm gonna go. There we go. Just a little bit more. Okay, so what we are doing right here, I'm going and I'm gonna just disable this for now. I'm gonna go to the delay. I'm using the good old, H delay. And what we are doing, of course, a ping pong delay. This is gonna move from the left to the right. Again, it's gonna make the impression that this is moving. And movement and mixing, it's very important. Now, I'm using the dotted. Now, of course, you can use a different timing. And of course, this is going to affect how it sounds. Notice that it feels that it's not super, it's not moving from the left and right. It's because the timing, it's kind of a perfect. If we shift it a little bit, we get a little bit more of the effect. Right. Now, of course, remember that you need to do a little bit of cutting from the lows and the highs so you can separate the sound or the repetitions from the original signal. Okay, right now, this is a very simple technique. Just ping pong. We do a dotted, or you can do triplets if you wish, and it's going to create this sound. Cool, right? And of course, it will enhance the stereo image of your instrument or your sound. But we can do a little bit better. What if we wanted to make it a little bit more, wide? What you can do, you can use there we go. You can use a chorus. So a chorus, what it's gonna be is going to be a very short delay. So we are doing repetitions, we are creating repetitions with the delay, and then on top of that, we have the chorus, which are very short repetitions on the repetitions that we get on this delay. It's like, watching the origin all over again. So again, a chorus will make everything a little bit wider. And this, again, if we don't use a delay, still gonna make it wide. That's why we use chorus a lot, just to make things a little bit bigger. But with the delay and the chorus, sounds really cool. Now, the thing right now, what I would like to do, I would like to separate the sound, the delayed sound and chorused sound, a little bit more from the original one. So what you could do a little bit of saturation in this case. I'm selecting an amp, a guitar amp. And notice that now the repetitions sound very different. And this is gonna, again, enhance the stereo image. Because remember, how this works. Whenever you have a sound that it's, playing at some specific point, and then you have a different sound that sounds pretty much the same, and at the same time, you're not gonna notice the difference. You're gonna have more volume, right? But as soon as you shift or you change a little bit of the repetitions or, the second thing or the thing that is happening in the background, this is going to enhance the stereo image. So this is the same thing. We are changing the vibe of the repetitions. And we get something a little bit, more useful. And just doing a little bit of saturation. You don't even need to go to, an amp, a guitar amp. You can maybe go and do a little bit of tape, tape saturation or maybe tube saturation. This is going to sound a little bit better, but it's still going to do the trick. I'm going to go to all tape because it's very aggressive. Pretty great, right? This is the sound. And without it, just the different, right? Let me go to Tuve. Tuve is going to be very aggressive. Maybe the other one, Broken Tuve. That's too much, right? Alright. Now, of course, it doesn't sound that good at all. But blended with the original sound, sounds cool. So that's it, that's it. I'm gonna go back to the other one, to the one I had before, which was the American Tweed amp. I really like that one. So that's, this is one technique. Just use a delay right here. Use a delay. Use dotted, ping pong. Do a little bit of chorus to the delay signal, and then do a little bit of saturation or distortion. All right, so let's go to the next one. The next one is gonna be the keys. So I'm gonna go and play the sound. And the keys, this sound, the original sound, it's already super wide. So I'm just making it mono. And now we can see that it's just mono. And I'm going to this channel, to the keys channel. And the only thing we are doing is something very simple. And now if I turn this off, we just, get something mono. We're just doing a little bit of a delay, just like we did before, cutting a little bit of lows, cutting a little highs. I'm shifting the left from the right. That's it. We already did this. We are not giving you anything new. But the next thing that we can do just to enhance it a little bit better is just to split the mid and the side. And notice that right here, I'm going low on the mid side. Because remember, the original side, it's already very mono and it's kind of on the mid already. So I don't want this to be on the mid because again, this is a repetition. It's not the main thing. This is the main thing. This is the secondary thing. It sits behind. So by just, going down on the mid, I make sure that all the information that I want just to make it a little bit big is going to be on the sides. And on top of that, you can do whatever you want to the sides. In this case, I'm doing a little bit of cutting. I'm going to go and do something like this, maybe. I'm just gonna get those frequencies on this side and then boost them. I'm boosting 3.8. Very simple, right? Just a little bit of delay and a little bit of boost. And this is just, again, make it wider. I'm gonna go and enable. And remember that the whole trick right here is to do a little bit. You don't go, because you can clearly do something like this. Maybe I'm gonna go right here. You can do something like this and go just full wide. That's gonna work, of course, but sometimes you just need to do a little bit. And if you do a lot of this on a lot of tracks, it's just gonna blow up your mix. You just need to do very small amounts of tiny changes. Just a little bit will help. All right, so that's the technique, a little bit of delay and a little bit of mid-side processing. All right, so the next technique is going to be doing a little bit of pitch shift on the repetitions, right? So in this case, we kind of already did this with the H delay, but it's just a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and play the original sound. That's the sound, really sucks. And if I go to this bus, much better, right? So what I'm doing right here, I'm using the little alter boy from Sound Toys, and this is what it does is going to pitch shift. It's going to change the pitch of whatever sound that we want to apply the effect of, to. So in this case, if I go right here, we don't notice a lot of difference. Let me just turn everything, all of this off. We don't notice it, but if I play it, notice it sounds bigger. And I'm playing the same sound, but shifting it a little bit, just a little bit. And it already sounds bigger. Remember how, what I've told you, whenever you have an original source, if you duplicate it and you change it a little bit, it's going to sound a bit more stereo. That's the trick. So just this alone gets the trick done. So on top of this, what we can do, we can repeat the pitched signal. So I'm going to add a little bit of delay. I'm doing a ping pong and a dotted delay. With maybe, not a lot of feedback, but I'm doing pretty much. So, of course, what happens if you want more width? Well, you are allowed to use a width plugin. This is just going to make it wider. Now, of course, use it with care. Now, this sounds cool, but my problem is that they are a duplicated signal. It's too close to the original one. So in this case, what you can do, you can go and throw an EQ afterwards and just, chop whatever it is that you don't want. So now, of course, this sound is going to be a little bit different. It's very narrow. And this depends on what you want to do, right? It's too big, not that big. But this is going to play a little bit better with whatever original sound you have right here. Because remember, the main sound is this one. This one is the start, not this one. You need this in the back. This is a supporting element. Because, of course, when you start doing things and this one starts to kind of overlap the original sound, then you have a problem in your mix. Now, whenever you do this, of course, we are messing with the track a lot. If I do play, this is what comes out from the different buzzes. Everything we did right here. Which is cool, right? Always remember to check your mono. Because this one right now is a little bit too loud in my opinion. And since we are adding a lot of frequencies, this might mess with your mono. Always check your mono. If your mono sounds cool, then it's gonna sound fine. If I go to the stereo section, this is everything we are doing right here pretty much. If I mute this, notice how different it sounds. Because we added a lot of information on these sides. That's why the track, of course, seems like it's bigger. We are just getting an enhanced stereo image. And that works. But when you do too much, it's gonna start, messing with your mono. And it's a problem. Notice that we have a lot. It's okay. Always be careful. Everything we are doing right here are just different techniques that you can use, and you use some of them. You don't use everything at once. You just use some of them just to make something wider, and that's it. Alright, so that's it. Hopefully you find this video useful. On the next video on the series, we're going to talk about delays, but from a different perspective. We are going to talk about creative delays, not for, enhancement or, depth. We're going to talk about creative. So it's going to get weird. Yeah, it's going to get weird. So, okay, remember to like the video if you find this useful. Remember to, again, subscribe if you can, and check Patreon, and see you on the next one.